Hello everyone! Welcome to this video where you'll learn how to use the Greek dictionary, also called a lexicon, in StepBible. The dictionary we'll be using today is called the LSJ, named after its three authors, Henry George Liddell, Robert Scott, and Henry Stuart Jones. Fun fact, Henry Liddell was the father of Alice Liddell, the girl that Lewis Carroll wrote Alice's Adventures in Wonderland for. A Greek lexicon not only lets you see the basic definition of a word, but also gives examples from a wide range of literature to show how the word was used in context. In this video, I'll show you how to look up a Greek word in StepBible's version of the LSJ, how to see all the definitions of the word, and how to understand the context in which the word was used. We'll do all that in just a few minutes and 2 clicks, along with a bit of scrolling. Let's dive in. First, pull up your passage as David showed you in the introductory video, in this case, Matthew 5:48. If you've already watched the StepBible Concordance video, we'll follow the same steps here. First, place your cursor over the word you're interested in, which is the word perfect. You'll see a blue banner pop up with some information about the Greek word for perfect, which we're going to ignore for now. Instead, we'll click on perfect to bring up a word analysis panel on the right. This panel shows the Greek spelling of the word for perfect, here. It also shows the English spelling of the word here. This English spelling is called a transliteration. Next, there is a basic word definition, which is perfect. And finally, we see the Strong's number, which has a letter G to let us know it's the Greek, and the number 5046. The next few lines have some information that I'll just mention briefly as we work our way down to the LSJ. First, we see some grammar information. Next, we see the number of times the word occurs in the Bible. This is the link that leads to StepBible's Concordance. Next, we see a meaning section, which gives an expanded definition of teleos. It also shows the English word teleos is most likely to be translated to in different passages of Scripture. Below all these, we find a section titled LSJ Dictionary. Click the arrow on the right to get a drop-down list of literary examples of teleos. Scrolling through this drop-down list, we see it's quite lengthy, so let's just hit the highlights. At the beginning, we see alternate spellings and different grammatical forms of teleos, along with rough time periods for when these appear in literature. If you hover over these blue hyperlinks, you'll get more information about the reference. For now, we're going to ignore this information. We'll discuss how to look up literary references in a later video. Next, we see a series of bolded entries, in English, starting here. Note that if you're using Chrome as your web browser, the bolding is quite subtle. Switch to a different browser for a clearer contrast. The bolded entries are an expanded set of definitions of teleos. We can find the context or relationship in which teleos takes this particular meaning next to the bolded words. For example, under our first entry, perfect, we can see that in the context of a sacrificial victim, teleos indicates an animal without spot or blemish. Likewise, a teleos sacrifice is a sacrifice that's not lacking anything. Scrolling down to part B of the first entry, we can see that a teleos decision is one that is authoritative or final. Then we have a new subcategory labeled with the number 2. This section describes a teleos animal, which is a full-grown animal. Likewise, it describes a teleos chariot as one that is drawn by horses. To understand this reference, we probably need to translate the Greek phrase that provides its context. To do this, simply copy the text, open a new web browser, and paste the text in along with the word translate. Now we can see that a teleos chariot is one pulled by horses rather than foals. Clicking back to StepBible, we'll continue to scroll down, and we can see that all of the remaining entries under this heading refer to maturity, including a life-size tree and a full-sized human being. Continuing on to part B of number 2, we see that teleos can refer to marriage, presumably considered the mature state of human relationships in this 2nd century AD reference. Number 3 then refers to a person's accomplishments. Number 3b refers to the perfection of things, even things we sometimes might consider negative, such as the severity of an illness. Scrolling down further, we can see that number 4 talks about prayers and vows, with a teleos vow being one that has been fulfilled. Number 5 talks about teleos numbers, which is a complete set of numbers. Likewise, 5b talks about perfect numbers that we get in mathematics. All these entries through Arabic numeral 6 fall under the same initial heading of perfect. Next, we can see larger subdivisions marked by Roman numerals. These include the idea of teleos as it relates to the divine, meaning all-powerful, then as it relates to a sequence of events, meaning the last event, and so on. Becoming familiar with all these contexts and the definitions of teleos that go with them gives us a broader understanding of the uses and meanings of teleos. Ultimately, it can help us choose which translation most likely conveys the meaning intended in our verse of interest. And that's it. You're now ready to use the Greek dictionary in StepBible.